in that time frame, I had to figure out how to make money. So I got a job at CVS, and then it hit me one day to become an entrepreneur. And the way that happened was my sister ended up, her birthday came around, and my grandma hired a clown. And when my grandma hired a clown to show up to her party, I saw that guy earned $100 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm living in Miami working at CVS for $7 an hour as a cashier.
Yeah.
While I'm still going back to school to get my actual diploma while I'm living at my friend's house. I saw that. I'm like, man, I got to become a clown. $100 an hour.
Better than CVS.
An hour.
Yep.
Yeah. So I told my grandma, can you make me an outfit? And she goes, what for? And she said, oh, I'm going to be a clown. Quiero ser un payaso, abuela. So she goes, you're going to be a clown? Like, you're crazy. Don't do that. And I said,
this is what, 17 years old, 18 years old?
16.
Still 16. You're like back to back.
Yeah, but I couldn't live with my grandma. It was a long story. I couldn't go back there either. It was just very complicated.
Yeah.
I was just trying to become a man and be independent. So she goes, buy me the material and I'll sew it for you. She did, and that was my first actual entrepreneur business. So I became Winky the Clown at 16 years old. She did an outfit for me, but I didn't know how to do balloons. I didn't even know how to be a clown. I didn't even know how to do face painting.
They pay more than at CVS. I'm going to just go do it.
And I didn't even know how to advertise. So the first thing back then, there was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. There was maybe MySpace at the time, just formulating. There was no nothing. So the only way I could figure out was, all right, let me go to the library. They have books in the library on balloons. Then I went to Party City. I bought me the little string balloons with a little manual pump.
Yeah.
And then I was literally in the library with a book looking at how to pump a balloon up and how to fold it into a dog or whatever. And that's how I learned how to do my animal shapes. When I started to learn how to face paint was because of a failure in my first party. And the way I got my first party was because I advertised on Craigslist. At the time was the only website you can post things up at. Yeah. And it hit me, you know what, I'm going to put that I'm a clown, but because I'm a clown for the first time, I can't charge $100 an hour like a real clown.
Start charging a little bit less.
So I'm going to charge half the price, $50 for an hour. And for my first party, when the guy calls me, I'm going to tell him $25 an hour just for experience. So my first party was in Alapata. I didn't know where Alapata was because I'm a Miami boy that was always living with grandma or the mom, so I never really drove around. I didn't know Alapata was the hood. I just said yes when I got the address, and I said, let me go. I show up to my first party, and that was the biggest learning lesson I had in entrepreneurship ever. It was the biggest failure, and for me, it was the biggest success. It was such a failure that I learned so much from it, and it elevated my business immediately from all the failure and the learning that I had from that first party. So I remember showing up. I remember getting me some paint that I bought at Michael's to paint my face.
The paint job.
And I didn't know, you know, that some paint is good and some paint is bad. I just said, let me find the cheapest paint. And they had these little bottles for like 50 cents or 30 cents at the time. I bought like a bunch of colors, and then I practiced my face the night prior, and I said, oh, it looks amazing. I'm going to go tomorrow like this. When I showed up to the party, within 20, 30 minutes, kids were screaming, ah! And I'm like, why are these kids screaming? Some of them were crying, like, don't even get up close to me. And then at one moment, I'm like dancing, and then I feel this sting in my eye because a drop of sweat fell in my eye. But it stings so much that I ran to the bathroom. And when I look, my eyes were red like if I was high on weed or something. All the paint that I had on my face was dripping down like if it was melting. My lips were painted red like Ronald McDonald, but the red was going down my neck like if it was blood. And then
all the kids, you scared all the kids in the party.
All the kids were freaking out. And then to make matters worse, I didn't have extra paint. So I didn't have extra paint. I'm there freaking out, trying to figure things out. I apologized to the owner. I just left my nose on. I tried to do whatever I could. The kids hit me. The kids ripped my nose off. The kids told me I wasn't a clown. I had to make sure I could keep them entertained. By the time the party was done, I leave and I tell the guy, hey, I know I said $50 at first. I'm just going to do $25 an hour. It was only 2 hours, so you just owe me $50. And he told me flat out, I'll never forget it. He said, get the F out of my face. I'm not going to give you shit after 2 hours of me working there. So it was like a knife to my heart. You know, I was like, man, you're not going to do that to me. I'm a little kid. I'm just trying to make money. And now you're going to rob me of 2 hours of time, work, embarrassment, everything. I was sweating and I was like, nah. So I told him right there, I was like, I'm calling the police. And when he told me that, when I told him that, I walk away and then he punched me in the back of my head and I fell. And this is a grown man. So I thought he was going to kill me. I ran. I booked it. I got up and I ran to my car. And by the moment I got in the car, I'm calling the cops. When the cops show up, they then tell me, hey, the guy's saying that you were never even here. Not only that, everybody in the party says that there was no kid, that there was no clown there. Even the kids. He got everybody to say that that was never there. It was a lie.
For $50, bro.
$50. And the cop tells me, hey, I'm sorry, kid. I think the best thing you could do is file a civil court complaint, take him to court. And I was like, man, for $50, forget it.
Yeah.
But the cop told me something that I never forgot. He said, I'll give you a little tip of advice. If you ever do this again, make sure you get the money at the door before you do anything. And I was like, wow, that's so true. The next day I had someone call me. And when they called me, I was ready to give up. I was crying that day too. I was depressed, bro. Like I felt like I was an embarrassment. I'm there driving with melted on my face, sweating like a pig. And then I was there for these kids falling on the floor and not even $1 for my gas, you know? Yes. So I was like, wow, like this is the perfect time for anybody to want to quit and never do clown business again. And all I was thinking about was how broke I was, and I had to make the money back on the paint and the costume and everything that I just put my little bits of dollars in. So I go, okay, I'm going to do another party, but next time when they call me, I'm the manager. Charge up front. Yeah, charge up front, but I'm the manager to Winky when they talk on the phone. I'm not Winky. So they call me, hey, I want to get a clown. Okay, cool. I'm his manager. I had to request that when he does show up, the clown is going to ask to have the money in cash at the door. If the money's not in cash at the door in an envelope, he's not going to enter your house. And I did that time and time again. And still, there were many people that when I showed up to the house, they didn't have an envelope. So I would wave at the kids and then say, hey, I'll be waiting in my car until
whenever
the
you have the money ready.
And then I'll come in. And then the kids up, the clown's outside.
Yeah.
And that helped me. And it helped me grow that I never had anyone rob me from money again. That was the biggest lesson I learned. And I'm glad that was the first lesson I had, which was my first party. And then after that, I just learned how to make it better and bigger. And that's every business, it works the same way. I started figuring out, okay, if people are going to have a party, they're probably going to need chairs. So I started to look online to find busted old chairs that were broken.
To start like setting up the party and everything for them.
Fix them, and then I would rent them for $70. Then I bought me bounce houses that had holes también on Craigslist that people were throwing out, duct tape, and then painted the same color. And then throw it out there again if it inflated. And I looked at the competition, $150 a bounce house. Okay, cool. Mine will be $70. So because my prices were always cheaper than everyone else on Craigslist, my stuff was always rented. Then I found the guy with a monkey. I made a deal with him. Hey, if I got a monkey party, can we split? Hey, I found the guy with the ponies. Hey, can we split? I don't have the ponies.
You built an entire business out of this. I built
an entire business. I bought me a trailer. I eventually just moved out of my friend's house. I can afford my own efficiency. I bought me a truck. I bought me a trailer. I was still only 17.
Crazy.
I was already making $2,000 every weekend doing clown parties.
Wow.
Yeah, on a
17 years old, bro.
17 years old on a weekend. And then that's when my friends that laughed at me, oh, you're an effing
now
clown.
They wanted to work for you.
They're like, hey, bro, I see you're
Put
making
me
money.
on, huh?
Yeah, can I be a clown with you, man? Show me how to be a clown. And I thought it was funny because the same person telling me that they wanted me to be the clown with them, they were laughing at me that I was a clown. Like, man, I can't believe you have some balls to do that.
Yeah.
And then when they saw the money, they're like, hey, bro, I want to do that too.
I want to be a clown too now.